So we move out to Los Angeles, and I get out, and Barry says, hey, man, he says, you're my best friend. He says, so I'm going to change your office function. I said, okay, man, what you want me to do? He said, I'm going to make you the financial office. You're going to sign all the payroll checks. All the checks that come into the company are going to come through you except for the payment for the records. So that's what you're going to do. So I said, okay, man. So I'm ready for that, man. I'm ready for change. I'm not going to be on stage. And my thought at that point was to never, ever be on stage again in my life. I was never going to record myself again. I might record some other people and do some other songs on some other artists and stuff like that. I wanted to do that, but not for me. I'm going to be at home with my kids and my wife, and I'm going to do my vice presidential thing here at the office. I'm going to sign these checks. So when I started to do that, my name is William Robinson Jr., okay, after my dad, and I was signing the checks, William Robinson Jr., William Robinson Jr., and after I had signed about 1,000 checks, I said, this is not going to work. So you see my signature now? My signature is, it's just a little thing like that. I had to change it at the banks and everywhere, man, because, when you're signing like that. So the first couple of years, man, I was in vice presidential heaven. And then also my job, he would have me to go to New York and make deals with publishing companies and do, I was in vice presidential heaven. But then I started to hurt inside. I was missing something. And so it got to the point where after about 2.5 years, I was miserable. My insides were miserable, but I'm smiling on the outside. It's like tracking my tears or some stuff like that. I'm smiling on because I don't want Barry to think, okay, I can't handle this. Right. I let him down. I don't want Claudette to think, okay, I don't want to be at home with her and the kids. Right. So I'm just miserable, man. And I am so miserable, man. I go in. So one day, after about 3 years, man, Barry came to my office. He said, hey, man, I want you to do something for me. I said, okay, man, what you want me to do? He said, sit down for a second. Let's talk. I need to do something for me. So I'm thinking he's going to tell me something corporate. I got to have a meeting with so-and-so and such and such. I got to go to this place and blah, blah. So he said, I need you to do something. So I said, what you need me to do, man? He said, I can't use profanity on this interview.
You can.
I can?
Yeah.
I can say verbatim what he said?
Verbatim.
Okay, verbatim. So he sat down, he said, I want you to get yourself a band and go into the studio and make a record, and I want you to get the fuck out of here. I said, what did you say to me, man? He said, you heard me, man. I said, no, I didn't hear you. I said, what did you say to me, man? He said, I want you to get yourself a band and go in the studio and make a record, and I want you to get the fuck out of here. I said, what are you talking about, man? I said, you don't think I'm doing it good? He said, no, it ain't about that, man. He says, you're miserable. He said, I see you coming in every day and you're miserable. You my best friend. I know when you're miserable, man. You can't hide that shit from me. So I know you're miserable. So when I see you miserable, it makes me miserable. So I need you to get the fuck out of my face. So I just hugged him. I was so happy. I just hugged him. And so that was my best friend peeping me, man.
Wow.
He peeped me. He saw my misery.
Yeah.
It fills me up right now. I'm sorry. Yeah. But it was such a... Anyway, I went home. I was very, very happy. And Claudia said, well, what you so happy? I said, well, I told her what happened. She said, I agree with him. Wow.
Wow.
So I said, okay, I've always considered myself to be a quiet singer. But I'm going to go back, man. I'm going to take show business by storm. And I thought about what I just said. I said, wait a minute, quiet storm. That's a great idea. so I went to the piano.
That's how that comes about.
I went to the piano. I started to write a quiet storm, man, And my youngest sister, who was actually 14 when I was born, but she was a great lyricist, man. And so I started the song, and I was going to do this whole album now. I'm going to do a whole album now because I'm going back to show business. Yeah. So I'm working on that, and I took it to her, and I said, hey, baby, finish this song up because this is going to be the title cut for my... So she finished it up, and I recorded it, and recorded Quiet Storm, and it was my debut back into show business, and it became something that I had no inkling that it was going to become. I was just writing something to come back into show business. I wasn't thinking about what it was going to do. And then there was a young man who was a night disc jockey in Washington, D.C. named Melvin Lindsay. And he had a show that came on in the evenings. His show started probably about 9 o'clock at night and went through midnight. And he named his show The Quiet Storm.
Yeah.
Okay? Radio stations all over the country started to have a Quiet Storm format. Now, I'm not thinking that this is going to happen, man. You know, I'm just writing a song to come back into show business. But it has become a radio format. And this year we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of the debut of A Quiet Storm.
Oh, wow.
And our tour this year is going to be called the Quiet Storm Tour.